Right, Year 11, so what we're going to do now is we're going to have a look at using something called a dodge and burn. So you need to go to your digital editing examples, you need to click on the dodge and burn folder and then drag and drop that eye into Photoshop. What I would like you to do is resize it so that it fills just half your page, and then in the next one you can fit a second example down there at the bottom. So what I did there is, once I'd resized it, is I just double clicked on it and that placed it for me, and that means that that image is now there and I can't resize it anymore. Okay, if you do get it wrong and you do want to resize, just remember, hold the control button, tap the T, and that brings that back up for you so you can resize it. Now, before we start dodging and burning on our eye, what we need to do, as with all of our little samples that we're making here, we need to right click on the layer and we need to go to the middle where it says rasterize layer. Okay, and once you've clicked on that, what we're going to do is we're going to move over to the panel over here at the side. Okay, and the dodge and burn tool, you might have any one of them selected at this side. So you might have something that looks like a lollipop, which is the dodge. The burn tool might be there instead if that's what somebody used last. It looks like almost like a little hand making an O, or you might have the sponge tool, but if you right click on it with your mouse, then you will get the option of all three of them and you can select whichever one you want. I'm going to select the burn tool to start off with. So as with most of our tools, we've got a range of different options up here at the top. So the first one is your size. So I've got mine set to a nice about 400 pixels. I want my hardness on 0, and then moving over to different tools that are specific to dodge and burn. So you've got your options up here of doing shadows, midtones or highlights. I like to start on the midtones first because that's like the middle range where it has the biggest effect, but to be fair, you could start and play around with any of the three of those. And then you've got your exposure. So your exposure is, have it up at 100% and it's going to be really strong, the effect. Have it down here towards a 0 and the effect's going to be really weak. Okay, so I'm going to start up here, and I've actually started on my highlights this time, but that's fine. So I'm just going to carefully go around the edge of my work, clicking down, holding down with my mouse, and just going around the edge. Okay, now the reason I like to have my exposure about 50% is because you can actually layer it up anyway. So you can see there, when I click back over stuff that I've already burnt with this tool, it does go dark anyway. And you can probably see the reason why this tool is called the burn tool, because it does make it look a little bit burnt, a little bit darker. Okay, so I've just gone around the edge and darkened that up, and then I'm going to change. So I'm going to go for my midtones now, and again just a little bit at each corner for this one, and then I'm going to go in on my shadows as well on the last part and really darken it up at the edges. Okay, so that gives me a sort of a little bit depth in the image, and it draws the person's attention when they're looking at my image right into the centre of the eye. We can strengthen that effect by swapping over now to the dodge tool. And it looks a little bit like a lollipop stick, this one, don't ask me why, but it is. So again, I'm going to start with my highlights. I've got all my controls set to the same. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to start highlighting the centre of that by dodging it with the dodge tool, and then I'll do the same with my midtones. And then I'm just going to go in and do the shadows as well. And that brightens up the centre of that eye. So the centre of the eye is really bright, the outside is really dark. It almost makes that look like someone's peeking through a keyhole or something, but it's a nice easy effect that you can do to add a bit of detail and depth to your work. Okay, so now that you've watched my demo, have a go yourself, dodge and burn, try and make something that looks nice and creative, and then once you're finished you can save your work.